Hey, how you doing, Clutchies? It's your boy Fablin at Clutch TV. How are you guys doing today? I know I haven't been on in a really long time, like 4 days probably. I know that's a long time. It's a long time for me at least. I'm actually super pumped. We are 1 subscriber away from 4,000 subscribers, and I'm really, really excited about that. I want to thank everyone here, everyone that's going to tune in soon, everyone that's tuning in very soon. It's been an awesome ride so far, YouTube, and I love making videos for you guys. I love streaming, and I just love everything. And I actually just got my first paycheck from YouTube, undisclosed amount, but it is chump change, to be honest. But hey, it's a check, and it honestly just makes this so much, more exciting for me to do, and it makes me more motivated to keep doing YouTube and to keep streaming and to keep making crappy videos and awesomely crappy content. So without further ado, this is another Let's Talk. Last time we did a Let's Talk, we had my good friend Gabriella, aka Monsters We Hide. So she was really fun to talk about BDSM. Now we're actually going to take it a different turn. This time I'll be having one of my college professors, CREDITO, on here. We're going to call him in just a second. He is a English professor. He was my English professor. Actually, my first English class that I took in college was a class taught by him, and it was a very eye-opening class. He was a really chill professor. He wasn't really strict on things. He was very lenient compared to other college professors, and actually a lot of college professors are pretty lenient because everyone has a life, and everyone, it's tough getting through college, especially community college, and especially university level. So he was very understanding with that. I think I actually passed his class with a B or a C. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him if he can even disclose that to me on the on the internet. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. The part-time teacher, the full-time teacher, the part-time. So we are actually going to call CREDITO, Mr. CREDITO, right now. See if it comes out okay.
Hey, Skylar.
Hey, hello, Mr. CREDITO. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. We can all hear you loud and clear.
Sweet.
Sweet. So I have on the line with me my English professor, Mr. CREDITO, the full-time English professor, the part-time musician, the part-time politician. Honestly, one of my more favorite people to follow on Facebook. So how are you doing tonight?
Thank you very much. Doing fine. It was just another busy day in the at CCBC, and I was mulling over some opportunities to forward my education at the doctorate level, and so I guess there's just some things that are on the table right now that I wasn't expecting to be into, but I guess a lot of things that I maybe wasn't so keen on doing before I've been giving some serious thought to.
Oh, that's really interesting. You're at the master's level, I believe, right?
Yeah, I've had a master's since 2010, and the year after that is when I first started teaching at the college level. And I had finished at Johns Hopkins in the writing program there, so it's like a 27 credit program that I completed over the course of about 2 years.
Jesus, that's a lot of time and effort putting into your furthering your education. That's a lot of effort.
Well, you'd be surprised. It was 27 credits, and I almost didn't graduate because I had a tendency to write stories that were like immature and that were suspected to be sort of like non-fiction when they were supposed to be fiction, and that's like a real no-no in the writing world. Like for a fiction author to take one's own experiences and try to pass them off as like as fiction. So I guess
because no famous writer has ever done that ever, right?
I'm sure that it's been done to some extent, but I really didn't know how the game was played. Like I really had it wasn't really the easiest time, like politicking and Johns Hopkins University. Like I didn't really fit in there entirely. I mean, I'm glad I went, glad I finished, and did what I went to do. But at the same time, it might not have been the best match for me. But I was sort of comforted and emboldened by the fact that I actually met one of my favorite authors who also went to Johns Hopkins. That's Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and she said that was not actually the best school for her either. So that was very, I was very heartened to hear that from someone who I admire so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's better that you hear it from a role model, right?
For sure. Someone whose book I teach in my classes now pretty regularly.
So do you have any upcoming projects that you want to share with us tonight?
There could be a few in the works. Musically, I'm thinking like I'm going out to Los Angeles for the winter break. I'm teaming up with a collaborator of mine named Ray Lewis, just like the football player.
I assume it's not the football player.
But it's not the football player. He's originally from Maryland, though, but he's been living in California, in the LA area, for the past decade now. And we've been collaborating musically, and over the winter break, I plan to do like a little mini tour of the Los Angeles area. Now, truth be told, I have not been very active in the Baltimore scene as of late. And every time I go on Facebook, I always feel like I'm missing out. Like I see my friends who are playing everywhere, gigging, and really doing the things that I would love to be doing. But if it may be said, I feel like I've been kind of detached from the scene here in Baltimore, and I would love to get back into it. But I feel that something happened around here with me and the scene here. Something has evaporated, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It might be, I don't know. It could be a million different things.
Well, I don't know if I ever told you, but my father is actually really into the Baltimore music scene. Actually, I went to go see one of his shows at a bar, an Irish pub in Parkville, about 2 months ago. So he's really into Baltimore music and stuff like that.
Was that the Shamrock or there was one other place that came to mind? The Emerald.
The Emerald, that's what it's called. The Emerald Tavern.
Yeah, I've done a couple gigs there, and
it's a really quaint place.
Quaint, it was cool. But that was just one of a handful of places that I had some pretty solid engagements with, and at some point, things just kind of either fizzled out or dried up, and without pointing the finger, it's like, I guess you could say that there's I don't know, the Baltimore scene can be very selective, and they want what they want. And I guess one of the things I've always liked about the West Coast cities is that there's more options. There's like multiple underground scenes within a single city, and with Baltimore, I guess it's like if you can make it in Baltimore, then you can pretty much make it anywhere. And there's ups and downs. I found that it's definitely a tough scene to crack, and I have a lot of friends that are doing a lot of things right now. But I've just, truthfully, I've been laying low and kind of just really trying to reflect and figure out the next step.
Do you still do those open mics on Thursday with Pat Rennie?
Those open mics, if they're still there, and I still do make a point to get out there every once in a while. This Thursday might be one of those times when I'll try to get there. It's just that Federal Hill, we used to go there like every Thursday for a while, and then with Pat Rennie and Chris Alfonso, among several other of our friends that used to frequent the Brewers Cast with Mark McKenna, we kind of just started doing different things, and it went from being like an every Thursday thing to like maybe we'll see each other on Mark's birthday gig or something like that. So
right.
it's something I would like to to get back into it. As of late, one of them that I've been really enjoying is Peace in a Cup of Joe. That's also on Thursday night. It's a very eclectic sort of mixture of performers.
Sounds like kind of like a coffee hour type acoustic coffee shop type place.
You might say that. It's a nice, very tiny but very warm and receptive, and it's the kind of place where when you're playing there, you know that they're feeling every note, every word, every lyric, and I feel it's like definitely one of the most appreciative places where I've played. Like I've had, you know, nights where the audience will be singing along, and for after maybe hearing the song just for the first time, it's really an amazing place, and I've been going there with my wife actually. She really digs it, and she's a tough customer, so if she likes it, I know that's good.
Well, that's good. I mean, that you involve your family in your in the personal and the professional per se world. I usually keep those two. I usually keep those two separate in case I I ever piss someone off. But to each his own.
There's always a time and a place. Like it's if I can like at this stage of my life, like family is important, and I just try to involve my family in any way that I can whenever it's possible. My daughter is just about to turn 2, and so I guess maybe it's an interesting time where maybe someday soon we'll be taking her to those places as well, here and there. But
I want to stop you for a quick minute, and I just want to say this, guys. We just reached 4,000 subscribers. That's 4,000 clutchies in the nation. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Big shout out to CREDITO for being here with me to witness this moment. I am so humbled, and I'm very appreciative. Any words to say to the 4,000 people in the nation, Mr. CREDITO?
Well, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thanks for listening and tuning in. And we have one Facebook at CREDITO Band, and hopefully we'll have some stuff going on in the near future.
That's right, guys. Everyone, I have his Facebook page, CREDITO Band, linked in the description to the stream, so you guys can go check out his Facebook page. Also, his YouTube channel, which only has one video, but I thought, might as well just leave it in there. I have actually heard your some of your projects, and you kind of have this, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the artist, but I have kind of like this Ben Gibbard sound, Death Cab for Cutie type, Postal Service voice, and it's really kind of like soothing, kind of like a lullaby-esque kind of voice.
Oh, I appreciate the comparison. The last project I completed was Neither Fish Nor Fowl, and you should be able to find that if you were to look it up on YouTube. Maybe not on the exact same channel, but every time something is released by CD Baby, it goes up on that channel. So I think every song on that record is a 15-song record, and I think every one of them ended up on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah, and I also wanted to ask you if you ever thought about making like soundtrack pieces, because I started doing a top 5 series on my YouTube channel, and I've been using some copyright free music. I always wondered if you were interested in something like that, like making copyright free stuff, so people could use it in their YouTube videos, whether it be like a vlog or an intro, or background music to a game or something like that, something towards that nature. If that would be something that you would ever be interested in, or would you rather just be paid for every song?
Well, I would say that it's in this day and age, everything is copyright. Everything is copywritten, but also everything is free, and that's always been my attitude. It's like when it comes to YouTube videos and iTunes downloads and the like, it's really the whole getting paid thing is not all that it might seem like it's cracked up to be. And so if there's a chance to reach more people by putting it out there without the strings attached, I think that's the way that I would rather go. It seems logical in this day and age. In the past, I think that the industry was more like album centric, and one could simply, you know, do it for the sales or for the, you know, for the numbers
You have
of
skills, there's no
sales or
questioning
whatever,
that.
units
I'm
sold.
curious if you can meet the
But you know,
standards
it's a
of
changed
MI6.
world, and I think that in
I'd like to watch
response
you
to
in
these
action and
changes, I
see
think
for
it's good
myself.
to harness whatever
Alright, I'm
technology is
game.
available and to reach people, because that's really, you know, in times like these, it's all we could really ask for.
Right, right. I mean, I agree. I agree to an extent, but you know, there are some people that some people that are greedy, that they'll put out, like, you know, terrible content and still expect to be paid. Some people will put out, you know, brilliant stuff, and you know, they just want the credit for it. You know, there's a whole different type of people in the YouTube and the music industry that, you know, they just do it because they love it. Not saying that that's a bad thing.
And that's what I gather. I'm actually not so savvy with YouTube, if I'm being perfectly honest. I've been aware of it as a medium. I've, I guess, used it to some extent. But it's, there's definitely an art to it, and,
Being a spy is a very
I've never
physical
really
job.
considered myself
Think
the
you
most
can handle a big
technologically able person, or savvy person, I should say. Like, I know how to turn it on, but how to get it working is another story. And if you were in my classes at the college, I tend to use the online technologies like Canvas or Blackboard as little as possible. And oftentimes I get visibly frustrated when I can't figure out how to upload students' grades or assignments. And so I would rather do what I do rather than to be concerned about technology. And in a more perfect world, I suppose we could have someone do the technology for us and leave it to the specialists so that we can do what we love to do. But I guess that, you know, that's maybe neither here nor there, because as artists are expected to pretty much do it all these
Nothing can
days.
slow me down.
Right. Right, and you know, it's ever growing, so as soon as you catch on, you have to figure out a new feature, or there's a new app that everyone's hopping on. You better hope that you capitalize on it quick before you get left behind, you know, in whatever year you get left behind in.
Better than
Yeah,
sex.
But there are some like outlets like Facebook that have been around for almost a decade, and if things rarely change, a lot of new feature, but it's usually, you know, it's a very user friendly medium. You know?
I agree completely. I think that Facebook is the kind of medium that, you know, that your grandma can use, you know, so to
Right.
speak. Whereas, like, for me, Facebook has been fairly kind to me. You know, that doesn't necessarily translate into dollars. It doesn't necessarily have to, but it's a medium where I've really connected with some amazing people, including my main man in Los Angeles, Ray Lewis. At the moment, that's pretty much the only collaboration I have going on right now. I've talked about going into the studio in the upcoming year with Pat and with Kenny Kingsborough at Harbor Red, same place where I finished the last CD. All those plans are pretty much tentative at the moment. But then again, I think, you know, this is America in 2017. I mean, what isn't tentative at the moment?
Right. It's honestly been a really strange year. A lot of advancements, a lot of back steps as well.
For sure, for sure. I started out the year as a culinary student, believe it or not.
Oh yeah, I've been keeping up with it, and I took that path myself in high school. They offered a culinary program. I was in it for 4 years. I do enjoy cooking. I do enjoy making. I consider it a very complicated yet simple art form. You can make the most simplest of dishes look amazing, and stuff of that nature. I thought, you know, I really like it, but it's not really for me. It's not something that I want to turn into a career. And you know, you really don't. I mean, I was lucky to catch that on. Some people, they invest their lives into some careers, realizing they don't want to do it and stuff like that. I'm glad you found it as your muse, though.
It was definitely a muse. I think it might have been a little bit of a. I'm no longer in the program, but it was a little bit of a backlash, I think, to technology. I really wanted to work with my hands and do something simple, something that didn't involve mastering a new app or a new medium. And it was just something so real that I figured, like, I could, just using my hands and creativity or whatever, like, I could just do this. And I ended up, creating an Instagram page and getting down with Instagram, which was, which I hadn't really done before. So, but looking back, I think I really just wanted to just work, just to get into a simpler kind of work. And I don't know, at this stage, it's hard to say what role that will play in my, professional life, but it was good to pick up a new skill for sure.
Oh yes, and believe it or not, that's one of the better skills to have, in my opinion.
What better skill to have than to know how to nourish oneself without having to depend on someone else?
Exactly. Took the words out of my head I was trying to find. So I noticed that you're also very active in current events on Facebook as well. I don't try to take this the wrong way, but I feel like you're a very opinionated type of person. You have to tell you can't stay silent about something, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you like to tell people. You don't stay silent because and you might think that their opinion is wrong. You basically just don't take anyone's shit. Basically, you speak your mind. And I really respect that about you, even though we do differ on some key issues here and there. But I do generally respect how you handle people on Facebook, especially that one time where you showed us one of your Facebook arguments in class back in 2014, which I thought was really interesting. Because more so because it was more unexpected. Because I'm like, first of all, I didn't even know you were on Facebook. Second of all, you're arguing with people on Facebook, basically just telling them what's what. And it was really interesting.
Really my intention. I actually can't recall the exact argument from 2014. That seems like half of a forever ago.
Right.
But I never really got into Facebook to argue. I guess you could say that Facebook has offered something that maybe I didn't have in my previous life. Facebook has offered a chance to have a voice. I've never really looked at it as a chance to make any kind of real waves or to influence people, and certainly I would never want it for it to be something that would divide people or make people angry. I guess that's never been my reason for using it. But Facebook offers something, and I started using it maybe in 2008, maybe 2009, and once the cat got out of the bag, that was it. Like, I was able to use Facebook to voice my support for Barack Obama when he was first elected and then re-elected in 2012, and I felt that it was just something that really escalated. I was able to express myself. In the past, before Facebook and the internet, I didn't have that, and I grew up in a small town in Harford County, and growing up, when I was finding my way in the world, like, I was constantly told that I should be quiet, that I should not talk about politics, that I should, not even have an opinion, let alone keep an opinion to myself. Like, and so I feel that Facebook has sort of offered me sort of some sweet karma. And I don't do it for any kind of a power trip or to be like, to be like I'm right and everybody else is wrong, but I feel like it just simply has given me a mode of expression that for the first 30 years of my life or so I didn't have. And then all of a sudden it was there, and as human beings, we're social beings. I see friends who are also very expressive. I'd say far more than I am as well, but they are really out there. Every time something happens, there's someone commenting. I have like more than 1,000 friends that I'm connected to on Facebook, and many of them are pretty active in current events, and like I said, more so than me. And I think a lot of how it's escalated is simply by seeing other people. Like, when I see other people doing things, I kind of I don't want to say I copy it, but we take cues from our environment, and in the virtual world, it's pretty much like the real world. It's like if if everybody starts silencing themselves politically, then gradually, you know, others, you know, will take notice. And so I found it, like, you know, in recent times that a lot of my Facebook connections, they've really stepped up their game. And I always thought that in the current political climate that a lot more people would sort of quiet down, you know, out of fear of maybe rubbing people the wrong way or maybe rubbing the powers that be the wrong way. But no, I'm really proud to see a lot of people who I know standing up for what they believe in times like these when it would probably be a lot more convenient and so, you know, playing it safe just to not say anything. So I take my hat off, but I would be the first to admit that I'm far from the most active or involved. Like, there could be like major events and I wouldn't even comment on it.
Right.
In some cases, like,
Right. I'm the same way.
Every time there's just you.
I'm the same way. No, and well, it was really sad what happened in Texas recently.
It was really sad, and I think I didn't really say anything on Facebook because I knew that it wouldn't make a difference. And
I mean, honestly, what else is there? What is there to say about it? I mean, it's just another mass murder. It's just another reason for pro-gun and anti-gun people to just go at each other. It's just better to not, just let them dish it out and then die down. Business as usual.
I didn't say anything on Facebook, but what I was thinking inside was like, this is not turned into a country where I want to raise my family.
Right.
I thought about what it was like to apply for a PhD program in Europe where you wouldn't have to go into debt, but getting your degree would be your job. I mean, if it was as easy as pressing a button and we would
Another
be there
virus
tomorrow.
injection.
Right.
How many ways of enemies can you clear?
I didn't want to post all that on Facebook, but that's how I feel right now. I feel like nowhere is safe. I'm a teacher. I enjoy, music, and those are both sort of public venues that could be vulnerable at any time to such an attack. So, meanwhile, I look at the statistics in the Netherlands. In 2015, only 81 people died from firearms, and there's 17 million people in the country. And so those statistics really blow my mind, like how, it's really quite simple. People have more guns here, and anybody can get a gun, and anyone can open fire. It's really frightening, and they used to say that your chances of being involved in a mass shooting were the same as getting struck by lightning or winning the lottery.
Oh, they say that about everything. But
I would say it's a lot of people getting struck by lightning or winning the jackpot.
Exactly. And I'm not really. I mean, I can't really relate. I don't own a gun. I want to own a personal protection firearm, but to be honest, I don't think everybody definitely needs a gun, especially not crazy people.
Yeah, and it seems that a lot of times it's also a mental health issue in a lot of ways. It's just scary that anyone in any condition can pretty much order a gun. And I think that's the most frightening thing of all.
Yeah, well, Maryland's doing their part. It's really hard to get a weapon in this state. You have to go through all these courses, and you have to buy the weapons are expensive, the license is expensive, and then you gotta get another license to use it for this function and that function. It's just, whew. I looked into it. Honestly, I mean, I have a switchblade. I keep it on me at all times, so that's good enough at this point.
That's really cool. I mean, I think that it's good to have some form of protection, and I guess if you have to have something, maybe a knife might be the lesser of two evils.
Right. Before we continue about that, we have a message from Warrior Wells 300. He said he subbed to you. Thank you for showing your support to CREDITO. It really means a lot to me personally. I'm sure it means a lot to him too. What do you have to say to Mr. Warrior Wells?
Oh, is there a way to see is his comment on the thread or?
His comments is in my live chat right now.
Okay, well, I'd like to say to Mr. Warrior Wells, thank you very much for your support, for being here tonight. It means a lot to me. This is my first sort of event of this sort with Skylar and with anyone, so it's just really cool to hear that you're with us tonight. I hope you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, I usually do this a couple times a week. I also saw that you did a YouTube video with Mr. RVR Gilmore, and I watched it. I have his post notifications turned on. I see it anything he posts, I see it as soon as it comes up. Really interesting video. I know that you chose the video. Really interesting pick.
And the video kind of, it was kind of out there, maybe. And I wasn't, to be honest, I wasn't sure. When you and happened to me and Gabe made that video, the reaction video, which was about a woman in Nigeria who was advising men not to perform oral sex on women. And I thought it was really funny. And so I thought, why not do a reaction video with Gabe?
Oh, yeah.
And Gabe was digging it too. But then what happened was the day that we filmed it with Pat, Pat was doing the camera work, and that was when the whole Harvey Weinstein scandal broke. And I felt like, now's not the time to do it, because people are going to be upset, and you're going to have, like, two guys sitting here carrying on about something sexual. It's going to make us look like a couple of sexist pigs.
I heard about that. I actually didn't read very much into it. I don't really dabble that much in Hollywood scandals, but I heard it was really messed up. Crazy stuff. But honestly, in my personal opinion, I mean, Hollywood is a very shady place. And by all means, that is absolutely 100% despicable. No respect for Harvey Weinstein whatsoever. Absolutely despicable actions. There's no excuse. But it just further proves my theory that Hollywood is shady, and you need to be shady or get shady to make it there.
But in light of all the recent developments, with various actors being accused of misconduct with women, there's perhaps a glimmer of hope that Hollywood will become a better place. What if, like, women could run Hollywood, or what if, what if we could really put a dent in this sort of thing that's going on? It has been going on for decades. Perhaps has been going on since the beginning of time in some way. And there is a chance, because I mean, we're going to need movies, we're going to need entertainment. And when you realize, like, Los Angeles, there's very little in Los Angeles that doesn't revolve around the entertainment business. And so when you have an industry that basically is the cornerstone of the largest mega city in the United States, it's not going to disintegrate or go away completely. And they may, Hollywood might go through some tough times, but at the end of the day, it's going to bounce back, and just hopefully going to bounce back in much better shape than it is currently in.
It is the city of angels, after all.
For sure, I think it's my favorite American city of all time.
Oh yes, I do. I don't share this a lot, but I do actually dream of moving to Los Angeles one day. I only really shared that with my girlfriend Teresa. She swears up and down that, one day if you make it big, you'll need, that's the only time you'll ever be able to live there, because it's expensive. And that's really shoot for the stars type of thing that I'm really gambling on myself in that aspect. I've been to California several times, and I absolutely love it. I've been to Anaheim, San Diego, San Fran. It's really beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, no matter what city you go to.
For what it's worth, my friend Ray Lewis, I was telling you about, he moved out to California, having just married his wife, and I think it was like about almost 10 years ago. He went out there with like $700 in his pocket, and now he's loving life, doing okay, So I guess it's like, and I have a lot of friends out there who are in the entertainment industry in some capacity, like they're musicians or they're actors, not necessarily killing it, but they're doing what they love to do, and they're living, they're eating good food.
Right, and there's also a lot of YouTube sensation people, a lot of YouTube people that live out in LA. It's kind of where everyone that's big in their rightful industry basically moves to Los Angeles.
Well, with that kind of weather, why would you move anywhere else? It's like
basically. I mean, of course, there's Miami, but even that's too hot at times.
I know. So I'll take that Mediterranean 80-degree all year round kind of weather. But I'm kind of torn between what is my favorite city on the planet. I'm actually writing a book about that. It's like a tale of 4 cities. I just started working on a travel memoir, tentatively titled List Points, and it's about Baltimore, of course, which is where I've been for the last 10 years. Amsterdam, where I visited 5 times in the past decade, Los Angeles has been the first city and the last city to capture my imagination, and then Bangkok was where I sort of sowed my wild oats for 5 years after college. So,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
working
I
on this.
heard. Yeah, Bangkok. That's Thailand, I believe, right?
Bangkok, Thailand, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, basically, I have my vision for this book is to present cities in a way that offers a contrast. What if I told you that the most intriguing person I met in Thailand was a 40-year-old school teacher who was a virgin, and she had never even kissed a man, never been married, and when people think of Bangkok, they think of wild sex parties, crazy nights, and I'd like to project something different, like a different side of the city that I experienced. I was there from about 2003 to late 2003 to early 2008. There were plenty of wild times, but my vision for the book is to show that there's more than one side to the story, and I'd like to do that with each of the 4 cities in the book.
Right. Have you ever been to any other like the European cities? I always wanted to go to. I always wanted to go to London. Actually, is on my bucket list. Take a picture
Never
with
been
Big
to London.
Ben.
I did spend a month in Rome before I went to teach English in Asia, and I was taking a course with like other Americans, and we were pretty much like drinking wine every night, and our 9 to 5 was like was taking a teaching pedagogy class, like learning how to teach English to speakers of other languages, and I was actually the worst student in the class. I passed by the skin of my teeth. I probably shouldn't have passed.
Oh, I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, I was the worst student in the class. And what's really interesting is that I probably have been teaching longer than anyone who had attended that class, because I think that a lot of my contemporaries, they were really good students. They were responsible. I was in a very lost point in my life back then, and I didn't know that I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a teacher. And a lot of these classmates of mine, they were kind of just going over there to Italy to maybe to burn a couple of years and just to experience the culture. And I may have stayed in Europe or in Italy, which is one of my ancestral homelands, but I didn't stay there because I couldn't find a job. Everything was like part-time this and part-time that, and I wanted the security of a full-time job. And the ultimate irony is, fast forward 15 years, and what have I been doing with my life? Since then, I've been teaching part-time at several colleges and sort of living without that security of the quote-unquote full-time job anyway. So it's just kind of funny and ironic how that worked out.
Right. I mean, I would have stayed in Rome, to be honest.
It was cool, and it was a pretty good sort of a hub, a good place to be in. I could have easily accessed, perhaps from Rome, a variety of other cities like Paris and Amsterdam, and other cities that I've really grown to love.
Are there
Would
no
have been really
challenges left?
accessible from that standpoint. The train goes anywhere, and you don't have to have a car. And that's another thing about Los Angeles. Like, if they don't shed this whole car culture, the roads are not going to be able to hold cars that are doing those
Right.
LA roads. And so that's another thing about LA. As much as I love it, it may not be sustainable.
Well, that's where everyone has a every other celebrity in LA has a Lambo now,
But they do.
or a Lambo or some sort of really expensive car that they don't need, that'll probably pollute the air for a couple years.
I wonder if they drive those sports cars all the time or just on the weekends.
I mean, I don't see them. Believe it or not, I mean, call it not guyish, I guess would be the word for it. But I'm not really big on sports cars at all,
The Saints are marching in.
because there's really no point. It's a vehicle. Its sole purpose is to get you around to places. The only reason I would see for needing a sports car is if I'm going to be racing it, or if it's for like a car show or something like that. But I mean, if I were a celebrity or someone that was making a lot of money, I wouldn't pump nearly all of my money and all of the insurance money into keeping an expensive car. I mean, I drive an Impala right now. I'm straight with driving the Impala forever. Like,
You know, I've had the same car for almost 10 years now.
oh really? Is it like a small town car, or do you have like a?
It's just a Ford Focus, and I think that it was that when I was at CCBC, I think it might have been the same semester that I was teaching your class. A student of mine who worked at Advanced Auto Parts, he sort of gave me the confidence that I needed to realize that that car could last for 200,000 miles. And I said, "Do you think?" And he's like, "No, I know that car could last for 200,000 miles." I was like,
It's not often
I was
stars are
thinking,
called upon
like,
to level
man,
areas, but it's something
this
you must
car's
be
not going
prepared
to
and
last.
able
And
to
I
do.
haven't, you know, I've been really lucky to not have had any major problems.
That's good. That's not a trait that most American makes have. But it's good that the Focus has really been reliable for you.
It seems that I didn't get a lemon, but even if, as far as the sports cars, I really share your view. I think that cars are supposed to be, like, for utility, and if anything, in a more perfect world, I wouldn't need a car.
Right.
I would live in a village, or maybe in a city village.
A city village, like a town.
Sorry.
Like a town or something.
Lost a step.
Well, Amsterdam is actually like a city and a village at the same time. The majority of people ride bicycles and take the train, and pretty much everything is walkable. And it's not a large city. There's like maybe 700, just under 800,000 people in total.
That's not a lot of people at all for a city.
It's a well-known city, but it's not like
Look,
a...
Zinyak, I am breaking your
Yeah,
toys.
technically a city, by definition, is a million or more. So if looking at that as a definition, it may not even qualify quite as a city.
So it's just a big town, basically.
Basically like a big town, like a nicely developed village. It's very global. I mean, every day of the year, 365 days a year, there's tourists pouring in and out of the city. They go there to get high, they go there to get whatever they want, and I guess it just has that appeal, you know. But interestingly, the city is really kind of
It is a
cleaned up
bad
a bit.
idea
Like,
to make me
they're really
angry.
cutting down on the number of sex workers in the window. Not that that would be a bad thing. I mean, the first year I went there, there was like red light windows all over the place, and I try to go there every year, and year after year it's like fewer and fewer, and there's hardly even any sex workers out in their windows during the day, and in the nighttime it's not a very it's not as happening as it once was, and the coffee shops are also fewer in number too, because they're not
I'm a
issuing
professional.
licenses. So I don't know if it's a sign that maybe their heyday is behind them, or if they're maybe cleaning up, or if they're just trying to. I think it's maybe a little bit of an exercise in diplomacy too, because you gotta think about how maddening it would be for like Germany and Belgium and France. They don't get the tourists that the Netherlands gets
Blowing things
because
up
of
makes me
Amsterdam. And, you know, so I think that maybe being a good neighbor is like maybe they just kind of want to cut back, you know. It's like, imagine if you're at your house and you're having this wild party and your neighbors are also trying to have a party at the same time. And, you know, so it's sort of like, you know, maybe a little bit of a competition, but they want to be a good sport about it.
Right. My father he actually went to Amsterdam 10 years ago, I believe it was. No, 15 years ago actually. I think it was 2003, 2004.
A long time ago.
I want to see how it looks back. How it looked back then. I mean, I know early 2000s isn't exactly, you know, black and white times, but
Cars and spies go hand in hand.
in an ever changing world society, it's always interesting to look at old photos.
You'd be surprised. I mean, the 16th century architecture probably hasn't changed an inch, or that's probably completely the same. And that's the first thing you see when you step off the train station at Central Station. You'll see the buildings. And, so I think that the essence remains the same. It's we're talking 16th century buildings that have really been there for like 400 years or more, and so I guess like that sort of architectural beauty would always be there. What might be changing is like there might be like some slight changes in the local culture and in the political arena. But what I like about it is the changes are not so drastic. Like here in the American culture, it's like every 8 years we go through a major pendulum swing, it seems. And over there, it's just like it's much more incremental.
Incremental? What do you mean by that?
That if there's going to be a swing or a change in the politics or the policy or in the laws, it's going to be just like a slight change. Like, okay, we can't have the sex workers in the windows for 16 hours a day, so now we'll have them in the windows for 10 hours a day. Or I think one little change might be like, okay, we can't have marijuana being sold near a school, so we just have to close down the locations that are too close to a school and move them maybe 100 feet or 200 feet further from the school. It might be like little changes like that. Whereas in the U.S. is like a real, I'd say, puritanical country. Whereas you're not a religious country, not a spiritual country, but a puritanical country. And what is meant by that is there's just some things in Amsterdam that it's impossible to imagine what it would be like. Not impossible, but it's difficult to imagine what it would be like here in the States because there would just be so much resistance to it. The U.S. is a nation with puritanical roots that have never really been weeded out. Yes, we have Las Vegas, and we may have a couple of other little sweet spots, but
Protect the virus
for
while
the
it
most
uploads.
part, it's like we're a society, I think, that punishes deviant behavior because there's more money in the penal system than there is in helping so-called deviant people earn a living.
Right. There's not a heavy focus on rehabilitation, which I think should be really changed about the criminal justice system. That it's I was a criminal justice major going into CCBC. I believe I shared that with you.
Yes, I remember that. We need guys like you in that field.
It's always crazy. A lot of people will say, "Oh, well, trust the justice system. It'll always have your back." I mean, 9 times out of 10 they won't. They're trying to meet their quotas for the month. They're trying to get their paychecks. They really don't care who they throw under the bus. And it's not necessarily a black and white thing. It's just a terrible ethics thing. It's just everyone does it. The corrupt black cop in the city does it. The racist white cop living in a small town does it. They're trying to meet their quotas. They don't care who you are. Think about, even they do it to some black athletes. They'll run into trouble with the law. It's not necessarily like race discrimination. It's about like, all right, who can we get the most money out of?
What's really sad is it's about the money, and when someone is thrown under that bus, some people will bounce back and they'll recover and they'll get ahead. But some people get thrown under that bus and they never get back up.
Right, and I'm not talking about like, in some cases where it's obvious, like in cases like of like murder, like it's obvious, the evidence is there, he did it. But I'm talking more of stuff like just like BS misdemeanors, like getting put in a jail because you got you got caught with weed in your glove box, even though you're going the speed limit and your headlights are working. You're just pulled over just cause they need a ticket.
One time I was pulled over for texting and driving, and I never texted and drove again, but I was scared shitless. I was pulled over on the way home from class, and I shouldn't have had the phone in my hand, but I did, and I was like, I was scared, and the only reason why I got off the hook was, I think, because the officer scanned my license, looked at my record. He said, "You have a very clean driving record." And he said, "Because you have a clean driving record, I'm gonna let you go with a warning." And
This saint yields to no one.
that was like, I guess that was like the wake up call that I needed. But I should have gotten the ticket because, like, back then I had my long hair and I looked like a criminal.
Oh.
And I had like, I had just released Neither Fish Nor Fowl with the YouTube video Jailers.
Oh, I seen that video.
And that song was sort of maybe taken by some to be offensive to, when it was really not at all. It was not inspired by any negative interaction with law enforcement. It was really inspired by a personal falling out that I had with someone in my family. And so Jail and Jailers, I think is more of a metaphorical song, but very easily if a cop would have seen that I had released that song, he could have very easily slapped me with a ticket just to be a dick.
Well, you know, it's people like that. It's the same people that are saying stuff about that, like, oh, you can't release music that incites, you know, that they think incites music towards wherever, and then they grew up listening to friggin' War Pigs or, you know, the Rolling Stones, and, you know, a lot of these like hippie bands that, you know, sang against, you know, similar shit, you know, like anti-war and shit like that.
Yeah, I think in some cases, like the Rolling Stones, every now and again I'll hear a song with classic rock radio stations and be like, wow, the Stones, they must have been perceived as pretty outspoken in their day. And so the Stones have had a really fascinating run. Like, they started out pretty innocent, and then they became like these sort of outlaw type figures, and then I guess maybe later in their career they became just this sort of reliable arena band. I guess they've been that way for the last 20 plus years, but it's been fascinating to see the Stones. At one point they were dangerous. They were considered a dangerous sort of band.
Yeah, any band that has a high influence like that, especially in the '60s, where it was, whether you were a Stones fan or a Beatles fan, that type of influence would be very dangerous. It's partially why I think Mark David Chapman was framed, and, you know, I'm a very suspicious type of person. Especially, I mean, I know it might be a little too soon to talk about it, but with the most recent Las Vegas shooting, I've been very suspicious about some of the aspects surrounding that, and, you know, the lack of evidence that we would find on anyone else in any other situation that we just can't seem to find on this one guy. You know, it's stuff like that.
Well, Vegas guy, there's a good bit of information about his history that has been coming out, I guess, gradually, that he had lost a lot of wealth in gambling, and they're trying to say that might have contributed to his psyche or whatever. But it's kind of what kind of gets on my nerves more is that because he's a white guy, they won't call it terrorism.
Well, I think the main reason they're doing that is because they have no clear political motivation that they could definitely say, like, okay, he definitely shot these people because, you know, they're all Republicans. I mean, obviously they can't beat the motive out of him at the moment because he's dead. But I believe that it should be terrorism, because the textbook definition of terrorism is very loose, and it caters to certain, you know, political groups where it's just like a blanket statement, like, you know, the brown guy that blows up a car and doesn't kill anyone is terrorism, but the white guy that guns down 70 people, it's not terrorism, you know, because reason X, Y, and Z. And I think that more so falls under the you know, maybe we should change the definition of terrorism, because obviously the people that survived the attack were in terror. You know, they never want to have that happen again. So, you know, call it what it is.
Yes, for sure.
But with that being said, I think we're gonna leave it off here. Thank you very much for coming on to the coming onto the stream with me, Mr. Credito. I was glad I was able to get you at least one new fan, and I'm very excited that I finally reached 4,000 YouTube subscribers. And I really appreciate you coming on with me tonight and sharing this moment, this accomplishment with me, because I feel so personally accomplished. I worked really hard for this.
The pleasure's all mine, and it's just to be here at that moment and to be able to spend a Monday night in this way was really cool. So I'm just glad to have been a part of it.
Awesome. I really appreciate you saying that. And I definitely do want to do future projects with you, maybe work on a video, you, me, and Gabe, and Pat. We could all sit down and we could all do a collective collaboration. Maybe a reaction video, or maybe we could do like a skit or something. It's definitely something that's in my future plans.
For sure. Well, you know where to find me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm actually meeting up with Mr. Gilmore Wednesday afternoon. We'll be discussing some business there. But with that being said, right. With that being said, I want to thank you again for coming on. And Mr. Credito, you have a wonderful night, and thank you very much.
Nice. Thanks, Connor. You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Later on.
Thank you guys for tuning in. That was Mr. Credito, the part-time teacher, the part-time political analyst, the part-time musician, really all-around guy. Once again, his Facebook page, Credito Band, and his YouTube page, they are in the description for this stream. So you go ahead and check him out. He's a really good guy. I've known him for a couple years. He was my English professor for my first semester in college. Awesome guy. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night.